Cameroon, land of promise, land of glory, of life and joy, and whose welfare can only be won in toil and love and peace, to go by the national anthem of the nation. A tropical country located at latitude 7.37 degrees north and longitude 12.35 degrees east at the Gulf of Guinea, and termed Africa in miniature, is the pinnacle and hub of Central Africa. The nation, which has proven resilient to the unprecedented happenings on the planet, such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine, is subject to the very disturbing global climate syndrome in the midst of political turmoil and terrorism in the Anglophone regions and in the far north region of the country respectively, which has slowed down our sustainable development. Thus, the urgent need for peace in these regions for the country to catch up with its plan of becoming a newly industrialized and prosperous nation by 2035. I am Dr. Yota Fomba, and I'm particularly delighted to present my actions on this platform of Global Unity Network, which center around 3 areas: climate action, sustainable development, and peace crusade.
We all live in this world together. The same blood flows in me and any other person.
We're facing the challenges of an ecosystem that is stressed.
Things are not moving as fast as they should. Things are improving, but not as fast as they should.
The challenges that we are facing, they are materializing so fast that it's not only my children or grandchildren which will experience the consequences if we fail.
The whole planet is at stake. The way we have been moving leads nowhere, and that we need to change course.
Pictures and stories continue.
We need to reduce global emissions by 50% by 2030. This cannot go on. You know it, I know it, and we know what we need.
Poverty is not natural, it is man-made, so poverty is not inevitable.
The human race has never had to face a set of challenges like we do right now. But together, we can overcome them.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, climate change and its negative consequences, the need to change course. Climate change is one of the most worrisome problems we have on the planet right now. The negative consequences today are alarming and catastrophic, such as threat to environmental ecosystems, floods, sea level rise that is trying to wipe out some island countries, droughts, etc. The causes of this climate change are largely anthropogenic and industry related. The search for energy by man to meet industry energy demands, the coal, fossil fuels, gas, etc., constituting an important factor for this climate change. The anthropogenic actions have resulted to the prevailing trend of climate change and its negative consequences today. Hence, the need to change course, that is, change the way we do things. I want to look at sustainable development, which is contained in Resolution of the General Assembly of the United Nations A/RES/70/1 of 25th September 2015, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, made up of 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets, which has as vision a world free from poverty, hunger, gender inequality, reduce inequalities, and to ensure sustainable development, takes into consideration universally shared values, principles and commitments, and the realities of today's world. The agenda has 5 thematic areas: peoples, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. In the Paris Agreement, national governments committed to limit temperature rise to well below 2 degrees Celsius and to pursue efforts to limit temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius, the world will increasingly experience dangerous climate impact and humanitarian crises linked to drought, sea level rise, flooding, extreme heat, and ecosystem collapse. The Conference of the Parties, COP26 in UK, reviewed these commitments in the framework of an unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, which rolled back the advancements or progress made on the Sustainable Development Goals and the ad hoc solutions and ministerial declarations on the firmness to redress the setback. This was re-echoed in COP27 in Egypt. Despite the efforts and order of governments and other actors, total quantity of greenhouse gas emissions continue to increase. Under current trajectories, global mean temperatures are projected to increase by 2.2 degrees Celsius to 4.4 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. Even under existing country-level commitments, global emissions in 2030 will be about 90% higher than they should be under 1.5 degrees Celsius scenarios, to go by Climate Action Tracker. Companies have a pivotal role in ensuring that the global temperature goals are met. But most existing company targets are not ambitious enough. The majority of global greenhouse emissions are directly or indirectly influenced by the corporate sector. Companies are increasingly recognizing the risk climate change poses to their business and the opportunity it creates for leadership and innovation, and are setting up greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets. However, this has to cut across all industry sectors and has to be ambitious enough to match the timelines consistent with a 1.5 degrees Celsius future. Current statistics reveal that global temperature rise stand at 1.1 degrees Celsius. In Cameroon, the situation is critical as many companies do not know the SDGs, talk less of aligning their business strategies with the Sustainable Development Goals and setting up science-based target initiative, which constitute a more robust approach for companies to manage their emissions over the long haul to combat climate change for a sustainable ecosystem. Science-based targets are grounded in an objective scientific evaluation of what is needed for global greenhouse gas emissions reduction determined by relevant carbon budgets rather than what is achievable by one company alone. They offer a firm foundation for companies long-term climate change strategies, boosting their competitive advantage in the transition to the low-carbon economy. Dash Inspectorate Cameroon embarked on a large sensitization campaign in Cameroon for the Sustainable Development Goals, advising businesses in Cameroon to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into their business strategies. The recommendation for the Science-Based Targets Initiative to combat climate change and the method of choosing a science-based target initiative. Wherever possible, companies are advised to use either the sectoral decarbonization approach or absolute emissions contraction approach. An economic contraction approach may also be used. I have carried out huge actions and instituted giant platforms for mobilization for SDGs in Cameroon. I am particularly delighted about SDG Summit Cameroon, the yearly SDG Summit in Cameroon, which I have instituted in Cameroon in collaboration with the government of Cameroon. The purpose of SDG Summit Cameroon is to promote the respect of industry norms, code standards and specifications for the development of the industry in Cameroon in line with the National Development Strategy of Cameroon 2020-2030 for an emerging nation by 2035 and the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals in Cameroon. It is an important annual event and holds under the patronage of the Prime Minister, Head of Government of Cameroon. SDG Summit Cameroon was held from June 15 to 17, 2023 at the Chamber of Commerce at Down Beach, Limbe, under the patronage of the Prime Minister, Head of Government of Cameroon, under the theme Manufacturing in Cameroon, Compliance to Roadmap of Standardization for Quality Products in Cameroon. On the platform of SDG Summit Cameroon, we're handling 3 issues: sustainable development, crisis management, and conflict resolution. In fact, in the bulk of attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, which include no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice and strong institutions, and partnership for the goals. In fact, we counted on partnership for the goals for the attainment of all the other sustainable development goals. The United Nations has prescribed multilateralism, global solidarity, and revitalized partnership for these goals. In fact, climate change and its negative consequences are becoming unbearable. The sea level rise, the floods, the drought, the heat is changing the ecosystems and is actually unacceptable. We must change the way we do things. The inequalities must be shown the door for sustainable development. No tribalism, nepotism, racism, xenophobia, in fact the wicked society problems of jealousy. Peace and justice must reign for sustainable development. But sustainable development requires peace, and peace without sustainable development, peace is put to danger. We are rallying all the stakeholders on the platform of SDG Summit Cameroon, so we accompany the government of Cameroon in its strive to make Cameroon an emerging nation by 2035 and the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals in Cameroon, which have been integrated into the National Development Structure of Cameroon 2020-2030. Number 4, this Sustainable Development Goals is quality education. Okay, it's both in general, okay, and technical. So we stand to promote quality education. You guys are flat earth. We want to see the results in you. Okay? Because Cameroon was become an emerging nation by 2035. So congratulations. We have instituted huge actions in Cameroon in line with the National Development Structure of Cameroon 2020-2030 for industry development in Cameroon in collaboration with the government of Cameroon for an emerging nation by 2035, which is the vision of the Head of State President of the Republic of Cameroon. One of our core areas is quality education for development of human capital to power industry development in Cameroon. The 2 years training and certification programs of welding technologies and inspection technologies in Cameroon, first of its kind in the country by Dash Institute of Inspection and Welding Technology Cameroon, shall empower aspiring Cameroonians with the skills in design, welding, and inspection. They shall be able to use advanced cutting, welding, and inspection processes applicable in manufacturing industry today for fabrication and construction. At the end of the training program, candidates shall obtain diploma qualifications in welding technology as welding technologies and inspection technology as inspection technologies, including certifications in welding processes from the manual, semi-automated, and automated welding process. And in non-destructive testing, we have ultrasonic testing, radiographic testing, magnetic particle inspection, penetrant testing, visual inspection, and the advanced MDT inspection method. Training commenced in October 2023. Oh yes, did Did you know the certified welding inspector is very important for quality controls and the quality controller to all quality stakeholders who include the governments, entrepreneurs or employers, the suppliers, the communities, etc. And that the non-destructive testing inspector is very vital for quality controls in the industry as they use innovative techniques to verify the soundness of our components. Dash Institute of Inspection and Welding Technology offers training and certification in these top-notch training certification programs which offer bound pay packages in Cameroon to power industry development in Cameroon. For those who want jobs in petrochemicals, maritime, the port sector, manufacturing, fabrication, in fact, these are top qualifications for you. Dash Institute of Inspection and Welding Technology offers courses in welding technology, inspection technology, certified welding inspectors, non-destructive testing inspectors, coded welders or certified welders or the industrial welders, those are welding engineering technology level 1s. In fact, all welders are offered free homologations or certifications. Rush now to Dash Inspector and pick up these vital industry skills which are very vital to propel industry development in Cameroon as the nation targets becoming a major nation by 2035. Climate Change Sensitization Campaign. I have instituted Climate Change Sensitization Campaign in Limbe Municipality in collaboration with the Limbe City Council and the Limbe One Council. The Climate Change Sensitization Campaign is scheduled twice a year before SDG Summit Cameroon in June and the United Nations Conference of the Parties COP in December. The Sustainable Development Goals as a product, the quality approach. Dash Inspectorate Cameroon considers the Sustainable Development Goals as a product. A product is the end result of a process which have inputs that are fed into the process and are transformed by the process to outputs, the products. Dash Inspectorate Cameroon classifies all major groups and other stakeholders of the 2030 agenda contained in Resolution A/RES/70/1 of 25th September 2015 as input requirements to the different processes of the 2030 agenda, such as agriculture, health, education, gender equality, climate, etc., to produce the outputs which are the Sustainable Development Goals. Dash Inspectorate Cameroon established a strategy for the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals with a people-focused strategic development plan which has many projects ranging from food production and transformation, quality education, gender equality, climate action to partnership for the goals. Dash Inspectorate Cameroon integrated the Sustainable Development Goals into its quality management system. We understand we can only make financial returns if we meet customer expectations or exigencies, that is, produce quality products and services. These quality products and services today must conform to the SDGs, so all SDGs are considered in all our operations. To meet customer expectations and exigencies, the internal processes of Dash Inspectorate Cameroon are designed to meet procedures and processes per applicable industry norm, and again, all SDGs are applicable. In order to continuously ameliorate the quality of our products and services, in order to stay at the leading edge in the different areas of our operations, the team of Dash Inspectorate Cameroon is subjected to continuous learning and growth, which involves continuous upgrading of our personnel through training and certification and auditing. And again, the Sustainable Development Goals are involved.
Think about the generations and to say we want to make it a better place for our children and our children's children, so that they know it's a better world for them and think they can make it a better place.
I am Dr. Yota Fomba, UN Authorized Conflict Resolution Agent, promoter of SDG Seminar Cameroon, General Manager and CEO of Dash Inspectorate Cameroon. Contradictions are the root causes of conflicts and should not be allowed to escalate to confrontations, violence, and subsequent wars that will sometimes result to alarming loss of human lives, property, and damage to the environment, sometimes leading to long-term crises difficult to manage. Let's make the world a better place than we made it, of human dignity and respect. No racism, inequalities, xenophobia, tribalism, nepotism, jealousy. In fact, the wicked society problems. COVID has taken an untold amount of human lives, people dying like flies. Natural disasters have taken an alarming number. The unprovoked senseless war in Ukraine has killed an alarming number of innocent souls. Peace must return to this darling planet. Yes, it must. We can stop the violence. Yes, we can. Together, let's make life happier again on the planet with the 2030 Agenda and its Sustainable Development Goals. Actually, Dash Inspectorate Cameroon engages stirring up of actions in Cameroon to raise stakeholder engagement in Cameroon for the implementation and review of the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals as Cameroon presents candidature for the presidency of the United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Philemon Yang, Grand Chancellor of National Orders, Cameroon. In fact, his candidature was presented to the diplomatic corps by the President of the Republic of Cameroon during the 2024 New Year wishes to the President of the Republic of Cameroon. Actually, the 2030 Agenda, which is the Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations on 25th September 2015, which has 5 thematic areas: peoples, planet, peace, prosperity, and partnership, targets making life happier and sustainable on the planet. Despite the unprecedented happenings on the planet like the COVID-19 pandemic and the increasing inequalities that have resulted to conflicts and crises, the loud call of the United Nations for multilateralism, global solidarity, and revitalized partnership is an absolute necessity and requirement today to make life happier again on the planet and the attainment of the vision of the 2030 Agenda and its Sustainable Development Goals. Dash Inspectorate Cameroon is stirring up actions in Cameroon to raise stakeholder engagement for the Sustainable Development Goals. We are embarking on a nationwide tour to communities, schools, and universities in Cameroon ahead of SDG Seminar Cameroon or SDG Summit Cameroon, which is scheduled this year from June 13-15, 2024 at the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Yaoundé.
We are happily delighted. We are in Mbengui today. I am Dr. Yota, Fomba, General Manager of Dash Inspectorate Cameroon. We are organizing this crusade. It's sustainable development, crisis management, and conflict crusade. We targeting sustainable development according to the 2030 Agenda of the United Nations. In fact, the Sustainable Development Goals, I must tell you, is a new concept in this municipality, but then the indigenous populations will have to acquaint themselves, understand the language of the 2030 Agenda, so they align their strategies to the Sustainable Development Goals. In fact, it's an imperative. We have the poverty, which is a priority to be resolved. We have the issue of hunger, which has to be resolved. We have good health for everybody, which has to be assured. We have quality education, which has to be assured. We have gender equality, which has to be ensured. All of these constitute the sustainable development goals. There are 17. So, in fact, we want the indigenous populations of Mbengui to align their strategies, to the sustainable development goals. Particularly, we have the climate action, which is a very big problem. Climate change is very worrisome already on the planet. So many changes already happening there, floods, droughts, ecosystem change. In fact, it's already become too problematic for the planet to bear. So, in fact, it's high time we change our strategies, change the way we do things, just like the UN Secretary General mentioned. things are changing, but they're not changing fast. Okay, if we continue this pace, okay, we're not going to get at the objectives. And the 2030 deadline, that is the 2030 agenda deadline, which is 2030, it's already been drawn. So we have to mobilize all the different stakeholders, okay, mentioned in the 2030 agenda of the United Nations, that is all major stakeholders, to align the strategies, to lead the actions, okay, of the different communities, so we attain the objectives of the 2030 agenda.
Cameroon presents a candidate for the 79th General Assembly of the United Nations. In fact, this is wonderful news, okay, to the country that has been a member of the United Nations since 1960 and is committed to the very values of the United Nations. And it is a long-term development strategy 2020-2030, which target making Cameroon a major nation by 2035. In fact, the very values of the United Nations through the Sustainable Development Goals have been integrated into this national development strategy, okay, and constitutes an important aspect there for Cameroon to become a major nation by 2035. In fact, the candidature of Cameroon for the presidency of the United Nations 79th General Assembly there is quite formidable there, quite wonderful there, okay, as it gets Cameroon, okay, on the ranks of the leading nations there in diplomacy and proving the ability of Africans, okay, to make their move there, okay, on the planet, providing solutions. If I go down memory lane there with the then Secretary General of the United Nations, that's Kofi Annan. In fact, he proposed to the United Nations that business be given a human face, and the United Nations Global Compact was created, and it has done formidable moves on the planet today, shaping business on the planet to its 10 principles, which are grouped under human rights, labor, anti-corruption, and environment. In fact, today it's led by Sandra Ojiambo, who is the first Secretary General, okay, at the United Nations and the CEO of the United Nations Global Compact. She took over the Global Compact when it was previous on the planet, okay, with the COVID-19 pandemic, rolling back all of the actions, most of the actions that the world has been committing, okay, to the attainment of the 2030 agenda and the sustainable development goals. But she's done quite formidable there, okay, with the Global Compact and giving new impetus there to the Global Compact. So the candidature of Cameroon today, okay, for the 79th presidency of the United Nations General Assembly is quite a good poster there, okay, to show proof of the ability of the African continent to, as a huge resource, okay, a force to reckon with, okay, to provide the solution on the planet. In fact, coming at a time, okay, as to go by the President of the Republic of Cameroon, when the very values of the founding fathers of the United Nations have been threatened, okay, peace is a problem on the planet today with a lot of violence on the planet. So, in fact, Cameroon coming today, in fact, a nation that has been endowed with a lot of peace, though some troubles here and there in the country. What aspect is sustainable development has been a pinnacle of peace there in Central Africa, and it's the candidature there of His Excellency Philemon Yang for the 79th presidency of the General Assembly of the United Nations is quite wonderful move there, okay, and we are rallying all the major groups and other stakeholders, okay, mentioned in the 2030 agenda, okay, to command actions in the various communities, okay, that we rally behind the government, okay, to make the objectives of the 2030 agenda attainable, okay, in Cameroon, okay, as we start making Cameroon a major nation by 2035. Thanks so very much.